All right, welcome. Let me ask you a question. What if in just 15 seconds you could change your life or the life of someone you love? I'm privileged to open a door for you that could potentially impact you or your loved one's health and you personally. And for those of you looking at a way to create a more sustainable future for yourselves financially, this could impact you for years and even generations to come. And what we're talking about is the convergence of decades of research, science, nature, and major trends that are leading us to this moment where you're meeting us today. And imagine being able to see exactly how fast you're aging and having the power to do something about it. Okay, we are launching a groundbreaking new technology. Actually, it's an evolution, an advancement in technology built on the prior decades that I just mentioned. And it allows you to participate in one of the fastest growing markets today, and that is health tech. And we are doing that by focusing on four key pillars that make wellness smarter, simpler, and more personal, beginning with the first pillar, which is actually enabling and empowering you to restore your own nutritional bank account. Okay, for you, your loved ones, your clients, and those that you bring this to as a business. Okay, number two, to be able to actually retune and restore healthy, youthful gene expression. And we're the only ones that have the science and the technology to be able to do that and offer that to the world. Then number three is to be able to actually measure and track that in a meaningful way. And we'll talk about why that is so significant. And again, this is going to be based on actually Nobel Prize winning science that only we can do and bring to the world. And then lastly, offering a performance guarantee and what that can mean for you to be able to build a powerful subscription model based business that can put you on a totally different track or trajectory for your financial future. So welcome to Prism IO. And what we're going to talk about today is truly intelligent wellness that hasn't been possible before, but is now becoming possible. Okay, with that said, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Ben Lowe here in Louisville, Kentucky. My background is in electrical engineering first at MIT, followed by medical school at Columbia University in New York City, where I then went to practice as a family MD in the Chicago area for a number of years. And just like many of you who may have gone down a certain professional track or maybe a business track, I thought that that's what I was going to be doing the rest of my life. And then some things happened to disrupt that. Okay, first was personal, just my wife and I beginning our family, having our first 3 of the 7 kids that you now see on the screen. But second was factors already happening in the world and in medicine that were changing reimbursements and starting to take me away from my family more and more. And I looked ahead as a young doctor and a young dad and realized how not in control of my time or my future I was. And I didn't like that feeling that outside factors could dictate where I spend my time and even in years to come. Maybe you're having that question right now. And so what we're going to open up for you is how that changed and what could change for you even faster with what's happening today. Now let's talk about something that's happening in the world is we're all getting older, right? Aging is happening. But at the same time, what we call youth span or health span is not increasing at the same rate that lifespan is increasing. So there's a gap that's widening. Now, let me make this real. How many of you know, maybe you have a family member or friend who the last 10, maybe 15 years or more of their life, it's like someone turned a dimmer switch and they had a diminished capacity, either mental function, maybe mobility, or vivaciousness and ability to really embrace and enjoy life. And how many of you are already thinking for you, for your loved ones, how can I change that and have a different path to my future? Okay, well, that's a major question happening in the world today. And we're going to combine that with something else that's happening. One is the old paradigm. And there are many people, and I will say, given it's my background, even many MDs today are still stuck in the old paradigm, thinking that aging is inevitable and that there is nothing you can do to influence your inherited genes. You're just stuck with it. How many of you have grown up thinking that? Okay. But what we want to introduce to you today is something that actually has been years in development and has been known for a number of years now, is that the expression of our genes actually is what matters. That there are things we can do that actually affect. There are things happening that affect the expression of our genes, and there are things we can do on purpose to affect that. But for most of the world, this has been a black box. And we're going to talk about why this could be different for you and what that could mean for you from a business model. Now, with that said, I want to introduce to you Dr. Joe Chang, someone that actually I get a chance to be on a Zoom with him next week. And there is a very special book he wrote over a decade ago called The Aging Myth. It's a best-selling book. He actually came out of the University of London, then Johns Hopkins, and then was in the pharmaceutical industry, leading drug discovery teams, going to nature to find solutions that could improve different areas of health and really help people. And then he actually said, why don't we go to nature and stick with it to begin with, okay? Instead of changing it to make something pharmaceutical, but bring the same level of science and measurement to what we do. And he launched a company, Pharmanex, that became one of the first of its kind to really do nutraceuticals in a scientifically measurable way. And he and his team of scientists now have gone on to now lead the world in healthy aging research, including a breakthrough technology or science we'll talk about a little bit more called AgeLock, which actually allows us to screen ingredients from nature and find the blends that actually retune your own gene expression to a more youthful, healthy pattern on a continual and ongoing basis. All right, so that's another basis of that we're going to be building our conversation on today. Now, how many of you have heard this word biohacking? And I know some of you in Europe maybe aren't as comfortable with this idea. In biology, it's actually a positive term. It means incremental little changes. Some people are doing major things like cold plunging. Some are just trying to get daylight and move their body more and eat healthier. To actually, the goal is to feel better, to think more clearly, to have more energy, and to have a better path of life. But here's the problem, okay? What is not measured cannot be improved. And most of the world is approaching biohacking or approaching wellness in a haphazard way because they can't measure it. All right, now they're attempting to measure. How many of you are wearing a device or know someone who's wearing a device on their wrist or on their finger that's counted their steps or measured the quality of their sleep? I was quite fascinated to discover that of the over 200 million Apple Watches that have been purchased, over half of them were purchased just for the health tracking alone. So the reason I'm describing is this: there is a huge desire and demand in the marketplace, okay? In fact, the ability to measure even a single measurement like cholesterol or like glucose has led to multi-billion-dollar industries just from one measurement alone. And so where we're coming in is at the bottom here, at the antioxidants and supplement industry, which is a $60 billion and growing industry in the US and $300 billion and growing globally. And let's talk about what that can mean for you. Let me back up one slide here. What I found fascinating now is because of what happened in the world a few years ago, more and more people are asking themselves, are there natural things, healthy things that I can do to influence my path of health? And we discovered that the number of people taking supplements actually doubled since then. And now in the US alone, nearly 3 in 4 adults, actually it's nearly that number, even as you can see at the bottom, in the 18 to 34 year range. And overall, 3 in 4 adults that you bump into are taking some kind of supplement. But the big question is, how do you know it's working? Okay. And which one do I take? If you could answer this question, you could solve a big problem in the world and you could build a very solid business. All right. Now, some people answer this question by not taking anything because they figure, hey, I don't know if it's working anyway. Why waste my money? Others, maybe you're in this camp, take the cheapest because they feel like at least I haven't wasted too much money if it doesn't work. And others decide to get the most expensive, thinking that if it costs more, it's got to be good. But the bottom line is nobody really knows unless you can actually measure. And that's what we're going to talk about today. With our solution is to come in with the ability to measure and leveraging smart tools powered by AI and decades of research and data, breakthrough science and an R&D engine. And write that word down, because that's also significant. What I'm talking about to you today is a moment in time that is accelerating, and it's continuing to evolve. Okay, those of you meeting us today, there's an R&D engine behind this that are continuing to develop solutions that make what you choose to build with us extremely valuable in an ongoing way for years to come. And that is because we have science teams that are continually creating innovative solutions that you can actually measure and ultimately empower people to take charge of how they age and live. Okay, because you deserve to know, right? We deserve to know if we're going to influence and impact our health or want to improve our path of aging. What if we could actually measure and do it in an intelligent way? Okay, so here's where we are today. This is built on something that was actually based on Nobel Prize winning science, developed in a university lab, the same lab where the artificial heart was developed. And it first was only accessible in a university room, okay, in a lab. But over time, our scientists have made this more compact and portable, and our partners have taken this around the world, done nutritional scans around the world that actually uses light off the palm of your hand to give a reliable index of your antioxidant status. And what does that mean? Okay, antioxidants, if you think about, whenever you see an apple brown or a nail rust, okay, that's actually oxidation. Now, what most people don't realize is that is actually happening in our brain, in our bodies, unless we neutralize that oxidative stress, or some of you may have heard of free radicals, right? That can damage our DNA and damage our cells. How many of you know you don't want, if you realize that that kind of stress was going on and bombarding your brain, your body, your skin, your vision, your eyes over time, that you would want to protect them? Okay, but again, that has been a black box unless you had this technology, which is actually more accurate than serum testing to give you a reliable index. And it's so significant, as you can see here, the NIH has invested in research. Its research has been at the university level, and the solutions that our scientists have developed are found in the PDR. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But what does this mean? Okay, if you Google antioxidants in virtually any health condition or system in the body, you'll find they play an important role, because neutralizing that oxidative stress is key. And now, after decades of research, scanning millions of people around the world and combining that with AI and bringing it to what we're going to talk about today, that you could be part of, something that's smaller, portable, faster, and smarter, we now are able to give a significant biomarker of nutritional health, okay, reflecting where you're at and how fast you're aging, or rusting, if you will, internally in your skin health, your brain health. And you can see here bone health, eye health, joint health, metabolic and cardiovascular health, immune health, which is important to everybody today, and gut health, also another major area, the second brain in the body. Okay, and again, we're the only ones who can bring this kind of measurement to the world, and I'll show you an example of that in a moment. Now, our science teams have developed solutions that can make a difference in all these areas, because once you're able to measure and see where you're at, we want to be able to impact that in a positive way. And what I love is that we have science teams, leaders in their fields in different disciplines around the world, not just a single MD or a single scientist whose name's on the label or who all the research is based on, because I saw that a lot when I was in practice. My patients would bring me different brochures and things that sounded good and might have helped some people. But what I love here is the level of science is taken to a whole nother level internationally, and allows us and our scientists to test all the way from where the raw ingredients are harvested to the end blends that are used on your skin or in your body, and how they affect your gut health, your brain health, your metabolism, your energy, and actually impact in a measurable way that's beneficial for the long term. And those are the kinds of solutions that we can bring to the world. Now, just to give you an example of the scanning result, going back to that question of how do people answer if they can't measure? Well, we had a gentleman who took that answer of taking the most expensive. He actually invested in his own personalized lab testing to create personalized supplements, and was taking them for years, spent a lot of money on them, and he thought he was going to blow this scan out of the water. He was excited to see a score, and he actually did score off the curve, but on the wrong side. On the left side, he scored below this 25,000 range, which means all that investment and what he was taking was not impacting his baseline at all. He was basically scanning at the same level that the average fast food eating American teenager scores at. All right. And what he ended up doing then is switching to this simple yet very scientifically based blend of ingredients from nature that our scientists have created called Life Pack. And in just 60 days, his score nearly doubled, and he began his path to a much healthier path to neutralize that oxidative stress and free radical damage in his brain and body. And he was very happy about that and became a very leading businessman in bringing this to the world. All right. With that said, let me pause this for a second. I want to give you now just a visual of the progression from that laboratory a number of years ago. Let me put this on. All right, 22 years ago, in that university lab, you can see it right here. This technology was born, and it has since developed. Let me see if we've got a problem with the here we go. Okay. It gradually was shrunk in size and speed to where it could go from 5 minutes to 3 minutes to eventually 90 seconds. Even was taken up to Mount Everest. And then in 2013, this portable device, faster, portable, sleeker, in just 30 seconds with the palm of your hand can give you that accurate index of your antioxidant status. And that has been taken around the world in 51 countries. 164 scans are done per hour, okay? And that has led to millions of scans, 15 million people and counting who have been scanned, all different ethnicities, different countries. That data has been collected and leading to 26 million scans around the world. Now we're combining all that data with AI and machine learning to create something intelligent at a whole nother level of being able to measure and direct people's health in an empowering way. And that's where you come in today. Now, let's talk about the partners. I've kind of referred to them a bit, but it's Nu Skin Enterprises. And what I love is they're a publicly traded company, which is relatively unique in this industry, which means all their financials are public and transparent. Forbes has called them one of the most trustworthy companies in America today. And they have a 40-year track record. So you have the power of the sustainability of an experienced company. And remember, I told you to write down that R&D engine. You have that R&D engine that keeps developing and keep growing and keep developing new solutions. We are actually the #1 at-home beauty device system brand in the world every year since 2017. And we've run over 27 Stevie's Awards, which are basically the Academy Awards of business. And one of them was for most innovative company. And we actually earned that and shared the stage with Apple for our size and category. And Nu Skin has actually been called the Apple of anti-aging. So just to give you a sense of where you stand in the world. In fact, our partners, I don't know if you realize this, they have one of the largest private anti-aging or healthy aging research labs in the US and overseas in the world, multiple patents in different arenas, including for this biophotonic scanner and for that age-locked gene expression technology. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a moment. First, another word in addition to R&D engine, I would write down is this word innovation. And this was really impactful for me, both as an engineer by background and then in medical school, because I still remember at Columbia while in medical school opening the newspaper and seeing breaking news that scientists had just documented the first and only thing that actually had been documented to make a measurable difference in longevity, and that was caloric restriction, something called caloric restriction, which is not really practical in human beings. But those scientists went on to continue to partner with other scientists that developed this gene chip you see on the screen that actually is able now to screen families of genes. This is an example of 52 genes that affect our mitochondria, the little engines in our cells that create ATP or energy, the cellular energy that creates life, that makes us alive, okay, for our brain and body to function. And here you see the fingerprint or the pattern of the young healthy genes in a young healthy tissue. And then here is an aging tissue, and you can see the gene expression has almost flipped, okay, completely flipped. And this is what's happening in us all the time as we age. But again, for most people, this is a black box. They can't see it, they can't measure it or do anything anything intentionally about it except try to live and eat a little healthier. Okay, this is like a piano getting out of tune or a violin getting out of tune. Our bodies, our gene expression is doing that, and unless you have a way to measure, there's no tuner coming to retune that. All right, but what our scientists developed is the ability with this gene chip technology to screen blends from nature and find blends that retune these families of genes to more healthy patterns. So here's an example. You can see on the right, they were able to retune that aging tissue to a more healthy gene expression on the right. And in this case, again, this is for our mitochondria. They have also gone on now to develop that for cellular purification and even to influence thousands of genes heads to toe that affect tissue renewal, brain health, DNA health, and multiple systems in the body. And these are solutions that are available today as part of this R&D innovation engine. Now, just to make it personal, as you reflect on what this could mean for you. So I'm approaching 60. I'm 58 and a half. I play soccer regularly with men 10, 20, sometimes 30 years younger than me. And even when we play outdoors in the summer with our college-age sons, 11 and 11, often at the end of the evening, I'm the only one still running the full field and sometimes the last man standing because of restoring my nutritional bank account continually with these nutrients and with Life Pack, neutralizing that oxidative stress, which goes up when you're an athlete and when you exercise, okay? And then retuning my healthy gene expression, especially for my mitochondria, like I just showed you. And speaking of mitochondria and stamina, my wife, this is her in her 40s after our first 6 kids. All right, we thought we were done. She'd always wanted to run a triathlon, but never had a chance to train. Finally had a window where she could train, and she said she was getting these nutrients for her nutritional bank account and that the healthy gene expression, retuning her mitochondria and the gene expression affecting her mitochondria. And she said when she ran and when she swam, she no longer felt that wall. You know how athletes hit that wall? Where she wasn't feeling tired and she could just keep going. She felt like she could just keep going. And in the end, she ended up running 2 triathlons back to back, 1 weekend apart or 1 week apart. And right after that, we discovered we were already expecting number 7. So we call him our vitality baby. So that just brings it to a little bit personal for you. And again, bringing this home before we go into the money now, we're talking about restoring your nutritional bank account, being able to retune that healthy gene expression in an ongoing basis, and being the only ones that have the ability to see and measure and bring solutions based on real measurement to the world, and then being able to track that, beginning with your antioxidants and leading then to an intelligent next level that gives a true biomarker of your nutritional health and providing a performance guarantee. Okay, let's talk about what that means for you looking at this from a business perspective. I found these quadrants fascinating. Maybe you're familiar with them. Robert Kiyosaki popularized them in his book, Cash Flow Quadrant. But the challenge I found is for me is I was stuck on the left side of this graph as an employee trading my time for dollars, even high dollars. You know, as a physician, you consider it's pretty good, but I was still trading my time. All that expertise and years of training was in my head, on my shoulders. And if I wasn't there, there was no income coming in. And so I had this dilemma between wanting time with my family and wanting a life and wanting to grow my income and serve people to improve their lives. And how could I do both? I needed a business system, a platform that could get me to this upper right quadrant, the business owner, where you have a system and a platform that generates and becomes an income producing asset. And that's what this device and the platform we're introducing to you can become. It can become a bridge to get you to that other quadrant, because I knew if I stayed on the left side, and many people don't have a vehicle or a way to get to the right side. If we stay on the left side where we're basically renting our time, trading our time for dollars, I knew no matter how many years I worked, whenever I stopped, my income was going to stop as well. Okay, so this opened up a path for me to get to the business owner system side, build a subscription business. I did it before we got here. You're actually coming at a time that's accelerating, and we'll talk about that. And it really gave me back my time while still being able to work with people to improve their lives, which is why I was a doctor in the first place. So let's talk about how this could look for you. Okay, how many of you know that you're paying multiple subscriptions a month, that every business is trying to get your subscription? Okay, whether it's your cell service, that's more common, right? But now your music streaming, your videos, but how about our HVAC service, our car service. Some people it's car washes. Everybody, your health, fitness, wellness. Everyone is now starting to provide memberships, subscriptions, different ways to keep you coming back as a loyal customer and to provide sustainable income for them. Okay, what this technology becomes for you is a subscription generator. How? Okay, imagine having this device now, and we'll talk about it. It's coming this year, okay? Having this device in your pocket, in your hand, in your purse, or at your clinic or center, wherever you are, maybe your gym, and being able to, in 15 seconds, with the tip of someone's finger, be able to offer them a performance guarantee by basically saying this: here's your score, and we guarantee we can improve your score. We can improve your health, or the company will give you 100% of your money back over the next 60 days. How many people do you think would flock to you? All those people trying to biohack, trying to invest in supplements. Now you're showing them that they could actually see that what they're doing is working and track that over time. How many people do you think would flock to you, get on these quality solutions, including things that can influence their gene expression and restore their nutritional bank account in ways that are measurable nowhere else in the world, okay? And imagine having and placing 50 of these prisms out in the market, okay? And each of them generating just 10 subscriptions at $100 each a month. That generates, just in our back-end commissions, an ongoing cash flow of $2,500 a month for you. What would that do for you? That infusion of cash coming in on a subscription, ongoing and expandable basis, okay? Now imagine those same 50 prisms over time going on to generate, as you offer those performance guarantees, or as people are getting scanned and getting on these solutions, creating 100 subscriptions for each of these prisms at $100 each. Now that's generating $25,000 a month of ongoing leverage income, and that's still expandable. Now, most people will start with maybe 5 or 10 of these and start getting these out in the marketplace, start getting the story out, scanning people. And what do? We just connect people, okay? What's beautiful is Nu Skin owns the manufacturing, the warehousing, the distribution in multiple countries around the world. We connect people, and with our digital tools and drop shipping, the solutions are shipped directly to them, and you continue to receive the revenue for those you connected. All right, the question then that this leads us to is, are you going to continue renting your time like what I was doing as a physician? Or are you ready to start moving to the right side of the graph and owning your future? That's the invitation before you today. Now let's talk about timing as we wrap up, okay? The timing that we're in. Now what's fascinating, this was fascinating to me, as I discovered that over this past 2 decades and the 26 million scans that were done, they were done with only 5,000 of these in the world, only 2,000 in North America, okay? That means that most people did not have access. And speaking of timing, in this year alone, we're looking in the next 12 months or so of increasing this, getting 25,000 of these out to the market. And you could be part of that. This is your moment of acceleration, okay? And speaking of acceleration, so the innovation has been done, the 20 years of research, of hard work in the field, of people building income, building network, gathering the data that we can now feed to AI. And now we're entering the acceleration curve that you can be part of as this shrinks in cost and size, becomes smarter and faster, and gets out into the hands of the masses. Now, just to show you the launch plan, we're looking at early access by the 4th quarter of this year, 3rd quarter, 4th quarter of this year, and then qualified access to those actively building with us, getting 2,000 or more of these out into the field by the end of the year, okay? And then growing that, as I mentioned, to 10,000 or more a month in early 2026, or still less than 12 months away, and then increasing that, look at these numbers, to 100,000 per month. We just heard from our CEO a target of 1 million of these being placed in the next 2 years, in the next 24 months, and 10 million by 2030. This is a massive acceleration, just like when computers went from being only something that people could access at a major corporation or a university or library, to something that now even teenagers have in their hands, something that's smarter and faster than anything that was the corporations and universities had before. that's what we're talking about you being part of in the wellness, tech, and biohacking arena today. Okay, we are in 40 markets worldwide, and we are also another major factor as we wrap up that you could be part of. We are about to open our largest market yet, and that is the country of India, where we can introduce this technology and these solutions as well. So that brings us to being able to measure what matters and actually bring to the world the ability to influence their health and their path of aging in an intelligent and measurable way, rather than doing it haphazardly and blindly or black box wise, okay? And really bringing that to the world. Now, if this has captured your attention, what is your next step? You can actually get started today in minutes. Just get back with the person who invited you, and they will actually help you create your free affiliate account. There's no cost to you for that account to be able to start having access to these solutions and sharing them with the world. And you will have mentoring and training. We have digital tools and ongoing systems to be able to introduce this. What we recommend for you, though, to accelerate your experience is to actually start your own 90-day transformation. Whether you're starting with that life hack like that businessman and really restoring your nutritional bank account and neutralizing all that oxidative stress, or whether you really want to accelerate your transformation and your engagement with the business and ability to grow your business, there is a youth optimization stack in each market. In this example, it includes this life pack plus a breakthrough 7 years in development dealing with pigment and anthocyanins that impacts the lining of the gut, the microbiome, and has an impact on overall metabolism and inflammatory balance and core organ health, to that head to toe youth optimization and retuning whole families of genes head to toe that I mentioned, and even a collagen blend that's not like any other collagen. It actually has a tracker from nature that protects the collagen in your skin and is measurable with this scanner, so you can track the progress and improvement over time. So get back with the person who invited you. We also have these Zoom briefings. The next one is tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Plus there are live events and briefings happening across the country. There's one with Charlie Patterson, a major international leader in Flushing, New York, happening tonight. And so you can be part of those. We're inviting people to those as well. And as I mentioned, as I just end the screen share here, and as we close, I was someone who, as a full-time dad and full-time doctor, okay, I had no extra time and I had no business experience. Why this was so significant for me is with this platform, one, I trusted, I really saw the value in the solid science foundation, okay? But number two, the business platform and vehicle allowed me to learn in partnership with others to just introduce and connect people in slivers of time, and over time to grow something that gave me back my time and allowed me to work around my family and have something that has now extended to multiple countries around the world as well. So we invite you to get back with the person who invited you, and we look forward to growing with you.